slightly mad. I'm going slightly mad.
Hello, Aloysius. Hello, everybody. It's been a while since we were here last. Yes. Why are we here now? I thought we were on holidays. Well, yes, we were on holidays, but we have a special guest. We're doing an interview today. Yes, that's exciting, isn't it? Okay, well, before we do our interview, yes, with our very special guest, remember, if you would like to support us, there is our shop, which has our books, and our Redbubble shop, which has over 100 designs on it. Our shop also has our writing services. So that is how you can support us. Also, yes, that is absolutely right. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. All of those things help with supporting us. So I think our guest is almost here. So let's just wait and see. Oh, that sounds like them now. Come in. Yes, is our guest. It's Narelle King. Back again. Yes, back again. Why is she back again? I thought we did her book already. That's very rude. That's very rude. Yes, she has a new book. See? New book. Oh, yes. Well, anyway, are you going to be polite now? Yes. Are you sorry? Yes. Good. So, welcome.
Thank you.
And you have a new book out.
I do. It's called The Bonehead Gate.
Yes, and it is the sequel to The Bonehead Resistance. So, The Bonehead Resistance has been a great success, and people love it. There are a number of really high reviews. Absolutely. People love the Bonehead Resistance, so if you haven't read it, go read it now. But this is the sequel. So when we left off with the Bonehead Resistance, Amber Yu had reunited with her husband and her son, but there were a lot of big loose threads, weren't there? There were. So where does the Bonehead Gate pick up?
So it picks up about 3 months after the end of the Bonehead Resistance, and it picks up with Amber at the Resistance headquarters.
Yes, that's one of the big things. This book, the Bonehead Resistance, is very much a chase pursuit novel, which gives that its great narrative thrust and its drive, and makes it so exciting. This one's really different. This one just expands the world, and I think the first thing I want to talk about, the most exciting part, but firstly, we go into a lot more about the Resistance in this one. So do you want to explain about the Resistance and how they are working in this world?
Yeah, so the Resistance is basically a loose network of different resistance groups that have formed around Australia, but the Resistance headquarters is in a national park, hidden away, and that's where sort of the leader of the Resistance hangs out and various other people involved in the Resistance, and so that's where Amber finds herself at the start of the book.
And at the start of the book, she's training, isn't she?
She is.
Yes. Because turns out just being able to lean isn't enough.
No, and so at the start of the book, she is trying to learn how to be a much better sword fighter, and and along with various other people who are also trying to learn how to fight the Boneheads.
Yeah, and that brings us to the Boneheads, which I think the most exciting part of this book is the Boneheads are not just this anonymous scary monster.
No.
They are so much more nuanced. They talk.
They do talk.
They talk. I think they talk a little bit in the Bonehead Resistance, but they talk. They have plans. They are a complex society, family. Yes, they're a very, very fascinating group that go from just being generic scary monster into this whole key player in this narrative, which
and look, I had so much fun writing them. So in one of the early scenes, Beck, who you may remember is Amber's best friend, runs into a couple of them, and sort of like the key one being a bonehead named Urilla, who almost wrote herself. The initial plan that I had for Urilla was quite different to how she came out on the page, and very, but still scary.
Oh yes, they are still scary, but they're now monsters with nuance.
And I guess political complexity within their society as well.
They have a society. They're not just this invasive force or this strange, scary army behind a political leader. They have their own agendas, they have their own needs, their own wants, and I think that creates some of the best conflict in the novel is don't you trust them? What is a bonehead promise worth? Because the first chapter starts out with, which is on this channel, I'll link it somewhere. It starts out with this great chase and action, and then we want Amber you. They have no hesitation about killing soldiers that they're supposed to be working with. They are absolutely a force unto themselves, which really changes them. Just so, I think I would love to talk about, but I don't want to spoil it. So I'm afraid you will have to read to find out exactly how complex the Boneheads world and society becomes, because these are not generic baddies. These aren't. So what now that you are a twice published author, how have you found the writing process?
So the second book was a completely different experience to writing the first book. For a couple of reasons. One being that I'd done it before, so I had a much better feel for things like pacing. I'd already developed a lot of the characters, so I sort of didn't have to redo that. I guess so. So in some ways it was a very different experience in that way. And then another way that made it really different was that I guess I had a bit of a deadline because, it couldn't take 7 years like my first book did.
Fortunately, once you've written one, it doesn't take 7 years to write a book again.
No, and so that made it, I guess, a different experience as well. But certainly a lot easier than writing the first, which was, I guess writing the first, I was learning how to write a book at the time of doing it, whereas I guess I've learnt a lot of those lessons with the first book.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. It really makes that so much easier once you think, oh, I know how to do that. I know you just don't keep running into those same blocks that you used to run into.
And the first time, I think I didn't really have a very good feel for how much I could fit into a novel, whereas the second time I had a much better feel for, as I said, particularly around pacing and things, which means therefore you have a feel for how far you can get into the story in one book. Yes,
because it's a very, as a reader, it's a very full story, but you don't feel overrushed or overpushed, or that there's too much happening. It's like, oh, there's a whole load of things happening. I'm going to be interested to see what plays out, what we're going to have to wait to the next book to find out. But that's something that I really like about it, because it's not huge lengthwise, which is, the idea of bricks of books. I'm not. I do read some really big books, but of this style of book, I want short, punchy. Please don't build gigantic worlds like that. Like Mr. Tolkien. Yes, like Mr. Tolkien. We don't need that many trees. No, we don't need that many trees. We don't need all those songs. No, we don't need all those songs. No. And we don't need those plot things that go nowhere, or potential I know. I saw the movie and then I looked at it in the book, and it's not in the book. Yeah, that we don't like that. Do we? No, we don't like that. We like you. So, anyway, congratulations on the new book.
Thank you.
And people can get that book at most major book sellers, especially online ones, or come to the Black Cocky Press website and you can buy it there. Thank you very much for coming and talking about your book.
Thank you for having me.
And that's all for today, isn't it, Aloysius? Yes. Okay. Bye-bye. If you would like to support this channel, come across to the Black Cocky Press website, www.blackcockypress.com.au, where you will find books and other writing services to help with your writing.